Hello and welcome to a new tutorial. So today I'm going to answer a question that gets asked quite a lot, and that is, do you need a printing press to do lino printing? And the most simple answer is no, absolutely not. So in this video I'm going to show you some tools that you can buy and also some items that you probably find in your kitchen that you can use to print with instead. Hope you find it useful and enjoy. So on my table I've got a selection of tools that you can use instead of a printing press. You can buy some, so like this little section here is what you can buy. The most common are the barons. This is a Japanese baron. Piece of card with a bamboo leaf over the top. They can come in plastic form, come with a wooden handle with slightly padded surface, one that looks more like a doorknob with a little bit of felting on the bottom, and these all do work in the same way in that you hold them like this and do circular motion on the back of your paper. You can also go raiding your kitchen drawers, so you can use like teaspoons, like metal spoons or wooden spoons. In the same way you do circular movements on the back of your paper. Some people I know use a rolling pin, or I have used in the past a pebble. Just need to make sure it's flat, and again you're just going to be doing circular motions. So I'm going to ink up my plate and I'll show you how to use these in a minute. So I've inked up my plate and I'm just going to put a piece of paper over the top. For this demo I'm just using newsprint, which is a really good paper to use if you're just proofing. You wouldn't want to use it for final prints because it's not acid free and it will go yellow after a while. So when printing by hand, put the paper on and lightly rub over with your fingers just so the ink attaches itself to the paper. Now to use the barons, so the type that are like flat discs, you want to hold them, so hold it a bit like that, and then you want to try and put an even pressure over the entire disc, and rather than going back and forth you want to do circular movements. So you can either hold it like that or like that. And the idea is to get even pressure all over your lino. You may need to turn your plate around and keep doing circular motions. And every now and again just hold the paper down and just lift one of the corners up just to check to see where you may need to put more pressure. So there I can see I need to put more pressure there. So you just keep doing this. Keep doing circular movements. Keep checking your print for any areas that need a bit more attention. And you'll normally find it will be the edges. And when you're happy, then you just lift the print up. So you can see I've missed a few bits there, but if I was taking more time, then I would have gotten those bits. So I'm going to ink up my plate again and I'll show you how to use these two. So to use these types, again, the same as with the flatter ballon, you want to either hold it like this or like this, and you want to try and get a nice even pressure over the surface. So using this one first, because it is a little bit rough on there, I'm going to take a bit of baking paper with the shiny side facing the lino. This just stops this from damaging your printing paper. And again, I'm just doing circular movements over my plate. And again, with the other ones, just keep checking it to see where you need to apply more pressure. So let's move on to this one. And this is a slightly spongy surface. So I'm just going to turn the paper around. I'm just applying a pressure onto the paper and circular movements again. Checking to see where I need to apply more pressure. So a bit more there. And keep going in your circular movements. Keep checking for any spots that you've missed. And then when you're happy, just remove your paper. So there you go. So the key with using ballons is to take your time and keep checking what you've got printed, and just keep doing your circular motion, keep checking until you're happy with the print that you've got. So I'm going to move on to the spoons. So my favourite tool by far when I'm not using my printing press is my little teaspoon. I prefer this over any other like ballon or other tool, because I find I can get much more pressure between this and my paper and get a much better print. And all of my black and white work I've printed using my spoon. So again, I'm going to use circular movements. I'm just using that area of the spoon. And even though it's smaller than using like a ballon, because it's a much smaller surface area, I find it's a lot quicker to get my print. So again, just keep checking where you may have missed bits. And keep doing that circular movement. And the same with the wooden spoon. You want to do circular, and again I'm just using that section. I'm just doing circular movements. I'll be honest, I've never actually used a wooden spoon before, and it actually feels quite nice. So maybe I will use it a little bit more often. Definitely more warmer in my hand than my metal spoon. So I miss a bit there. So again, just do my circular movements. And remembering, don't rush, just take your time. And then when you're happy, just remove your print, or your paper I mean. And there's your print. Actually, the spoon seems to be much better than using with the Baron. I've missectioned with the spoon because it's a much more concentrated area of pressure. I've got a much better print. So finally, I'm now going to show you how to use a pebble and a rolling pin. So for this one, I'm going to use a pebble. Now, I'm not worried about these bits, but if you don't want those to print, just get a clean cloth and just wipe them away before you put your paper down. So pop your paper down. Again, use your fingers to get the paper attached to the plate. And then I'm going to use the flatter side of the pebble and just use circular movements. It feels a little bit rough, so I'm going to use the baking paper again, just to protect the paper. And keep checking your print. You see that seems printed quite well. A bit more attention down there. Needs a bit more attention on the edges. But just for the demo, I'm just going to leave it there. So you keep doing your circular motion, keep checking the paper, and when you're happy, just lift up. So you can see, if I spent a bit more time, I would get these areas, but you can see you can get a good print from using a pebble. So now I'm going to ink this up again and use the rolling pin. So I'm going to use the rolling pin. So I'm just going to pop my paper down, rub the back, and then I'm just going to roll my pin over the top. Just go gently going back and forth. The only thing with using a rolling pin is that there's a greater risk of the paper moving, so you do need to take some care. It might be useful to put a bit of lino on each side so your rolling pin doesn't wobble and remains the same height as your lino. Rolling pin keeps on to roll. Actually, that's not too bad. Let's check the other side. I'm actually quite surprised. So the bottom still needs a bit of attention, so I'm just going to go back over that bit. I'm putting a fair amount of pressure onto it. And you notice I'm putting my hand over where the plate is rather than the two ends. And this should give you more pressure on your lino. So let's have a look at that. Oh. The joys of rolling pins is that they want to roll everywhere. So let's put that and lift it up. Oh, yeah, I expect there was a bit of movement there. So that's the problem with using rolling pins, they can move. So there you go. Using Baron to print with. So you got the bamboo one, the plastic one, ones like these, and ones like these. Or you can use spoons, which is my personal favourite, to be honest. You can use Pebble, or I think my least favourite is a rolling pin. But I would say, find out what works best for you and stick with it, because I really like my spoon, so I try to stick with those. But you may find one of the other techniques works better for you. Or anything really with a flat surface will work. So just have a rummage around where you live and see what might be suitable and give it a go. Anything could work. You just need to make sure there's enough pressure between the object that you're using and the back of your paper. So give it a go and let me know how you get on. Bye!